Hi, vinyl community. This is like the fourth time I've tried to shoot this. Fourth time's a charm. I have uh, a stack of records that is just ever growing and getting more imposing every day that I look at it. So this is the one. This is the one. I'm gonna start with the stuff I got for Record Store Day. Um, was only looking for three things. Ended up walking out with two of them, which is great. The first thing I found, this is Miles Davis, Miles in Tokyo. Um, this was released in Japan in 1969. They just put it out again for Record Store Day, and I had never heard this before. And as guessed, it is fantastic. It's got Sam Rivers on it. I didn't even know Sam Rivers played in the Miles Davis Quintet, so that's interesting there. Tony Williams as well. And yeah, this is just really fantastic, and I'm pretty sure you can actually still get this. They probably put out a whole lot of copies of it, as with the other one I'm going to show. But yeah, Miles in Tokyo. Was really happy to go home with this on Record Store Day. And then this was probably the thing that caught my eye the most for Record Store Day. This is the repress of Stillmatic by Nas. Really great comeback album for Nas. I am a big Nas fan. I probably go for God's Son more than I go for this one. But this record is still really, really great. It's got Ether on it. Fantastic takedown of Jay-Z. And this repress is also on this really fancy sort of gray vinyl. And it sounds really good. That's definitely something that it's sort of hard to nail down with reissues of hip-hop albums and stuff. They're usually digitally sourced, usually doesn't sound very good. I know for a fact the copy of Midnight Marauders by A Tribe Called Quest that I got not too long ago just really sounds terrible. Yeah, so they're spotty, but pick up that Stillmatic reissue. Next up, I've got some metal albums that I got. This is Bertgott by Over. If you're familiar with black metal, I'm sure you know this album. Very melodic, sort of has some clean vocals that kind of soar over a bit of the chaos, but not really in like a corny kind of way. I mean, this is a black metal classic. And really, I mean, not much more to say about it. It's at like a crisp and cool 34 minutes, like the best length really that you could have for a black metal album. But yeah, this Over record is fantastic. Check it out if you haven't. Next, this is easily my metal album of 2019. Kind of swinging in at the end of the decade. It is really one of my favorite metal albums of the whole decade. This is Slit Throat Requiem by Guardsgaster. I'm not sure where these guys are from, but this is just some amazing symphonic black metal. Like some of the best symphonic black metal I've really heard in years. There's been a lot of comparisons to Emperor, and I really don't see it. I mean, they're both symphonic black metal bands, but Emperor's songs tend to incorporate a bit more elements of progressive metal. I don't get that with this. This is definitely very raw, very straightforward, in-your-face black metal with symphonic elements. And it's great, like easily my favorite metal record of 2019. Yeah, Guardsgaster, Slit Throat Requiem. Next up, this is a pickup for an album that came out last year that I was really into and just never got around to picking it up. I saw it on sale online, so I decided to grab it. This is Royce da 5'9", The Book of Ryan. I'm a really big fan of Royce da 5'9". I know that might seem out of character, like with as far as like my taste in hip-hop goes. Royce da 5'9" is very much kind of a rappity rap sort of rapper, which I'm not super into like technical flows and things like that, but Royce da 5'9" is, I mean, he's always been a really personal rapper, especially with his last record, Layers, and on this one, he really just goes all in, sort of detailing, like, his dad's addiction, himself dealing with alcoholism, and I really just, I don't know, there's something about it on this record that really just It's the whole 9 yards. This sort of late career for Royce da 5'9" has been really interesting. Maybe not late career, but like with the Prime albums, Layers, and then putting out Book of Ryan. Like, I'm excited for whatever else Royce is gonna do. And he got a good Eminem verse on this right after Eminem put out like his worst album yet. So I mean, I give Royce all the credit there that he did that. This next stack of records here, these are all finds that I made when I was in Toronto. Went to Toronto to see my girlfriend. Wonderful trip. Awesome time. And great record stores as well. Obviously, the record stores weren't the main reason why I went there, but when I'm somewhere, I'm probably going to check out the record stores. And it's also, like, weirdly prog heavy, everything I got. That wasn't intentional. That was just right place, right time, I guess. But first up, this is Vandergraaf Generator, Pawn Hearts. If you know prog, you know this record. It's a classic. It's up there with Foxtrot and everything. And it is on the Charisma label. I'm pretty sure these are all Canadian pressings. Yeah, it's on that Charisma label. This was cheap. This was like $12 Canadian. That's a little bit under 10 US, if I'm not mistaken. My prices may be a little off. Don't roast me in the comments. But yeah, I've been looking for this album for a long time, and here in the States, it always kind of floats around 20 or 25 bucks. I'm not going to pay that. Because I've seen this go for cheaper, and no, that's inflation. I'm not here for that. But yeah, I mean, great album. Classic. Very Hammond heavy, abrasive sounding. But I love this album to death. I'm sure everyone else does. Vandergraaf Generator. Pawn Hearts. Next up, this is an album that I really only knew about from the internet, and I guess I didn't know that this is actually really common in Canada, because this is a French-Canadian band. Yeah, this has like $5 Canadian. This is Harmonium, Les Cinq Saisons. This is like a progressive folk album. It's definitely, it's pretty rootsy. I guess as far as progressive folk goes, definitely not like a super poppy kind of affair, which is cool. I really like this album. I'm really happy to have a copy of it. This thing goes for nothing over there. I paid like $5 for it, so yeah. Harmonium. Les Cinq Saisons. Of course, I'm having trouble getting into the sleeve. Fourth time is not a charm. Next up, more prog. Gentle Giant, Acquiring the Taste. This is a swirl copy. And yes, these are all in paper sleeves. I'm out of anti-statics right now. I have to wait till more come in. So don't roast me there. But yeah, Gentle Giant, Acquiring the Taste on the Swirl label. Again, classic progressive rock. Gentle Giant is in the pantheon of those bands, and actually they're probably one of my favorites. This probably isn't my favorite record by them, but I think of the pre-Octopus stuff, this is either my favorite. This or Three Friends. I kind of flip-flop on those. But yeah, just really, really great stuff. I'm trying to get more Gentle Giant into the collection. And again, this is another one of those where here in the States I see this go for 30 or 40 bucks. 15 Canadian. That's a steal. Gentle Giant, Acquiring the Taste. Next up, this was easily the find of the trip. This is the only thing that I paid up on, and it was worth it. Paid about what it was worth. This is Morton Feldman, Rothko Chapel. This is not only a Morton Feldman recording that was made while he was still alive, but it also features Julius Eastman on it. I'm a really big fan of Julius Eastman, and this record is really important to me. It's definitely one of the first sort of modern classical releases where I didn't feel like I had to try to understand it. It was just enjoyable to me. The music is very quiet. It's very low-key. Definitely not straightforward listening, but it has a relaxing quality. Yeah, Rothko Chapel and For Frank O'Hara are the two pieces on here. I'm not really well equipped to talk about classical music, but I can tell you that I like this. I think it's wonderful. This was about $50 US. It's the most I've paid for a record in a really long time, but it seemed fitting. I got this at Sonic Boom Records in Toronto. But yeah, really happy to have this. Definitely the find of the trip. And then finally, of the Toronto stuff, this is the Moody Blues, On the Threshold of a Dream. This is a gift from my very, very sweet girlfriend. She found this, saved it for me, surprised me with it when I got there. Yeah, this is a really, really great Moody's album. Definitely where I think their stride started. I know a lot of people would probably say Days of Future Past. I think that record is just painfully Muzak-y. Nights in White Satin is amazing. I love Nights in White Satin, but I think it's sort of one of those better in theory than in practice records. This is poppy. This is fun, progressive rock, sort of has a psychedelic edge to it. I am totally into what the Moody's were doing on this record, and it started like a stride for them. I mean, To Our Children's Children, A Question of Balance, and Seventh Sojourn, those are all fantastic records. Yeah, Moody Blues, On the Threshold of a Dream. That is all the Toronto finds, but I do have 2 more records to show. Maybe not really heavy hitters, but happy to have them. First one, this is Graham Parker, Squeezing Out Sparks. This is the second copy of this I bought because I lent it to a friend once, and they left it in their car. And of course, it warped to shit, unplayable. This is a cheap album. I found this at McKay's for like 82 cents. This record is amazing. Again, like another classic. Just perfect, pure pop for now people. On this record, I am a huge Graham Parker fan. I'm a huge Elvis Costello fan. I'm a huge Nick Lowe fan. I think all 3 of them really had something special going on, and I don't really think they were ripping off each other the way a lot of people say. But a lot of people probably know this record already, but I'm happy to have a second copy. Now I can finally listen to it. Graham Parker, Squeezing Out Sparks. And last but not least, but definitely the most beaten up, this is The Doors, Strange Days. This is a first U.S. pressing on the gold Elektra label. I got this at McKay's. I kind of took a flyer on it. I think it was $12. It said scratched on it. I took a look at the vinyl. It's kind of rough. Took a look at it and said, maybe it can be salvaged. Maybe it sounds better than it looks. Sounds a little bit better than it looks, which is not great, which is okay. The music plays loud. You can hear everything over it. When the music's over, sounds great, which is probably the most, I mean, that's my favorite song on there. It's what I am probably going to throw on when I'm playing Strange Days. But yeah, I'm happy to have this, and I'm sure I'll find an upgrade copy. Doors albums are not hard to find at all. I don't know why they keep getting marked up. There are millions of these things around there. But yeah, The Doors, Strange Days. And that is it. That is all of the records. Thank God. These have been staring at me, and I just knew I had to make a video. Finally did. Finally got it out. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment. Talk to me about my finds. Talk to me about Royce da 5'9". Talk to me about Morton Feldman. But anyway, yeah, again, thank you, VC. Happy Record Store Day. Take it easy.